Tonight on West Dakota Fox News at 9. A contentious hearing for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Plus, another damaging storm churns towards the south, packing a powerful punch. But first, police are looking for your help in tracking down a missing teen from Dickinson.
This is West Dakota Fox News at 9 with Molly Martinez and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. Our top story tonight, Dickinson police are asking for the public's help in finding 17-year-old Jacob Lawson. He was last seen on Saturday, September 1st. Police say Jacob is 5'9", 145 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. He may be carrying a backpack with a PlayStation 4 in it. If you know where Jacob is, police want to hear from you. New details tonight in a mysterious stabbing incident in Mandan. This morning, officers found 3 people with knife wounds near the 300 block of 13th Street Northwest. All 3 victims were taken to local hospitals to be treated for what is believed to be non-life-threatening injuries. Mandan police say 34-year-old Cortez Lyons is in custody in connection to the case. A Bismarck woman accused of stabbing a friend in the back multiple times will undergo a psychiatric evaluation. 26-year-old Octavia Wakefield is charged with attempted murder after being accused of stabbing a 49-year-old man 7 times in the back while he was sleeping. In court documents, Wakefield's attorney says when he interviewed Wakefield, it seemed like she was suffering from a mental condition. Wakefield will undergo the evaluation at the North Dakota State Hospital before the case moves forward. Okay, let's send it over now to Henry. To our friends at home, I don't know if you know this about Henry, but whenever there's a major thunderstorm, Henry, you go up to a hill and you watch the storm roll in. Did you do that last night?
Not last night, to be honest.
That's one of my favorite things about you. You really take your meteorology seriously.
Yeah, I like to. I'd like to see a safe distance away. But yeah, last night, yeah.
You're not there with a metal pole?
Oh yeah, there's not around poles, not around trees, anything like that, most definitely. But yeah, with the weather we had yesterday, that was a bit of a frightening sight. Yes, be prepared for that. And if you like the little bit of warmth, all hope isn't lost yet because we'll be back to summer-like temperatures before you know it.
All right, good deal. Thanks, Henry.
You're welcome.
William Hone pleaded guilty today in Cass County Court. He's accused in the kidnapping and death of Savannah Graywind. Hone pleaded guilty to charges of kidnapping and providing false information to authorities. His trial for conspiracy to commit murder is scheduled to start on September 18th. A man faces a reckless endangerment charge after police say he fired a Nodak Arms 5.56 caliber rifle in Williston Saturday morning. A witness says 23-year-old Dustin Bailey shot the gun out of his car towards a man and his wife, then turned the gun toward witnesses who were yelling at him to stop. When police found the 2 guns in his car, Bailey told them he drove there to shoot, but didn't see any people in the area. He's being held in custody at Williams County Jail pending his initial court appearance. A Bismarck woman is accused of embezzling $40,000 from automotive addictions in Bismarck. Court documents say a report was filed with Bismarck PD accusing 51-year-old Kathy Schneider of embezzling that money. When Schneider was questioned by police, she told them she had used the card for personal expenses, but said the amount was less than $40,000. Schneider has been charged with theft of more than $10,000, but less than $50,000. An update on a deadly crash in Burleigh County this weekend. Troopers have now named 76-year-old Richard Hogue from Baldwin as the man who died in the crash late Saturday night. Troopers say Hogue's Chevy Impala went off the road on a curve near 97th Avenue Northwest, about a quarter mile from Highway 1804. It hit 2 large trees on the way down. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police are looking for a thief who snatched valuables from the Pebble Creek golf course over the weekend. They say tools, a trail cam, and a green Dodge Ram pickup were stolen. They believe it happened sometime between Sunday and Monday morning. Workers say they found signs of forced entry. The value of the items is over $25,000. Well, this weekend marks the 49th annual United Tribes Technical College International Powwow. Megan Hoffman shows us a preview.
Happen all across the United States and Canada.
These 4th grade students will be seeing a powwow live in just a couple days. But before that happens, they're getting background on what the event means for Native American culture.
We give them a little insight because the more you know about something, the more you can take from it. And you know, my goal is for them to just really understand and respect Native culture.
Gillette spoke to about 400 kids today about the grand entrance, which the students will get to see, the drum, and all the dances.
Then we go through all the categories. I explain about what they're wearing, the regalias, maybe some little stories about where those come from.
The students will be going to UTTC on Thursday afternoon to take in a couple hours of the powwow.
We're only a few weeks out from Election Day here in North Dakota, and things are heating up. Tonight, Prairie Public hosted a debate between Service Commission candidates, Republican Brian Corsius and Democrat Casey Buckman. Next one will be on Thursday between Jeannie Brandt and Randy Chrisman, who are also vying for a spot on the Public Service Commission. Speaking of elections, today is the deadline for candidates to submit petitions for that November ballot. Today is the end of the line for Libertarian candidate Roland Reimers. The state canvassing board confirmed today Reimers' recount effort still fell 52 votes short. Election Director John Arnold says he wants the legislature to make a change, saying recounts only apply within party lines. Arnold says the office is collecting the bill to see what this recount actually cost the state, but the change uphold to see what the fundamental principles are.
If you allow people to say, okay, for this contest I'm a Republican, for this contest I'm a Democratic NPL member, for this contest I'm a Libertarian, it breaks down that integrity. The primary is a partisan entity, and so it needs to be done as such.
With Reimers' exclusion, the ballot is set for this race with Democratic candidate Josh Boucher and incumbent Al Jaeger and Michael Coachman running as independents. Well, the Secretary of State's race seems to have settled down, but the race for the U.S. House in North Dakota just got a little more crowded. Charles Tuttle, who describes himself as a citizen activist, is joining the race to support President Trump, which he claims legislators aren't doing. Tuttle submitted more than 1,300 signatures to the Secretary of State's office today ahead of the 4 p.m. deadline. He needs 1,000 to get on the ballot.
He's been behind the scenes and understand what needs to be done. And quite frankly, right now, I'm sick of what's going on, the fact that this president is not getting support, and that's why I'm running.
Happening now, the North Dakota Department of Health is getting nearly $2 million to fight the opioid epidemic. The department says they'll spend that money to buy data collecting systems, training, and lab equipment. The lab equipment includes machines that field test a substance and give law enforcement or EMS an idea of what that substance may be.
We'll have better equipment so that we know what the substances are that we're dealing with. We'll have better situational awareness so we know just how frequently this is occurring and what the trends actually are. And we'll have improved the actual medical care that are part of these processes as well.
The grant lasts 12 months, and Wiedrich says it's unknown whether it will be renewed next year. The North Dakota Safety Council officially unveiled an app for the Bismarck-Mandan area designated to save lives. The Cardiac Ready community debuted a Pulse Point app to a group of first responders and cardiac survivors. They say life or death in an emergency situation could be a matter of seconds. Each minute that passes without treatment, a person's chances of survival decreases by 10%.
I can tell you that we're ecstatic that Pulse Point is finally up and ready for the public to use. We can't wait to see more and more bystander CPR saves.
Schaffser hopes the app will educate people on CPR and help reach their goal of more than 70% trained. Trending tonight, there's no place like home. A pair of ruby slippers that Judy Garland wore in The Wizard of Oz are back where they belong. 13 years ago, someone stole this pair of Dorothy's slippers from a museum in Garland's hometown of Grand Rapids, Minnesota. But after a lengthy investigation and some new information, the FBI found them during a sting operation over the summer. Before they made the announcement, authorities first had to authenticate them.
Several months ago, our police department received some information that appeared to have more credibility. This investigation took us outside the state of Minnesota.
The chief didn't expand on that statement, but Chris Myers, the U.S. Attorney for North Dakota, was also at the news conference, the only one from outside of Minnesota. Former Arizona Senator John Kyle will take over John McCain's Senate seat in Congress. The late statesman's widow, Sidney McCain, revealed The news on social media just before a news conference with Arizona Governor Doug Ducey. Ducey later confirmed the news, praising Kyle for his long career in the Senate, several of those years working alongside McCain.
There is no one in Arizona with the stature of Senator John Kyle. He is a man without comparable peer. With nearly 2 decades experience in the Senate, serving alongside John McCain, Senator Kyle is prepared to hit the ground running.
For now, there is much unfinished business on the Senate's calendar, including confirmation of President Trump's nominees to judicial and executive branch positions. I look forward to going to Washington and getting to work.
His appointment means he'll be participating in the confirmation of the president's choice for Supreme Court, Brett Kavanaugh. Speaking of Brett Kavanaugh, it was a chaotic first day of hearings for the Supreme Court nominee. There was shouting, protesters being thrown out, and a lot of tough questions for the man in the hot seat. Democrats say the White House is withholding more than 100,000 documents related to Kavanaugh. They say the stakes are too high for this process to be rushed, but Republicans are calling the move strategic stalling.
Not about documents. What it is about is politics. It is about Democratic senators trying to relitigate the 2016 election.
Get a grip and treat this process with the respect and gravity it demands.
Republicans want Kavanaugh in, and they want him in fast. His appointment would mean a tectonic shift to the right on our highest court. To be confirmed, Kavanaugh needs 51 senators to vote yes. Well, construction for the National Veterans Cemetery opening near Harwood is in full swing. Despite previous reports, the cemetery would be 1 year behind schedule. The VA says it's set to open this coming spring or summer. Today, the construction company says it's all up to Mother Nature.
It's kind of a new thing for us because we're kind of based in the south. So this northern weather, snow was still on the ground when we wanted to start, so that pushed everything back a month. But everybody's working real hard, putting in extra hours to get everything opened up on time.
They say they could be finished as early as November, but more likely they'll be working until March. The VA says further steps will have to be taken before officially opening the cemetery. An Egyptian man was arrested outside of the U.S. Embassy in Cairo today after flammable chemicals in his backpack caught fire. The 24-year-old was caught on surveillance video when a small explosion and smoke erupted from his bag in what authorities are calling a botched attack. Tropical storm Gordon threatening 8 million people tonight as it bears down on the Gulf Coast. The storm is gaining momentum and expected to make landfall tonight any minute as a hurricane. States such as Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, and Alabama are all prepping for the storm's arrival. Major flooding and forceful winds are top concerns along the coast. The Louisiana Cajun Navy are in place and ready to help. Let's throw her over to Henry. Henry, it looks like your hometown of Baton Rouge looks like it's going to take a hit. A Japanese woman and man say there are 2 keys to making 80 years of marriage work. Listen to this, Henry. Miyako Momoshuto says patience and endurance have helped she and her husband reach over 80 years of wedded bliss. They've earned recognition by the Guinness Book of World Records as being the oldest living married couple by the combined total age. They were married in 1937, and her husband survived multiple deployments in World War II. Their family has grown to 60, including 25 great-grandchildren. And a nurse has been reunited with a NICU baby she cared for 28 years ago. Brandon Sematore was born just 29 weeks at Lucille Packard Children's Hospital at Sanford and is now a second-year pediatric neurology resident at the same hospital. One of the nurses recognized him by name and asked around, finding out that she had actually cared for him 30 years ago during his time in the NICU. Brandon's parents shared a picture they've kept all these years of the nurse holding him in her lap. Henry, if we're going to be together for 80 years, we got to start now. I'm just saying. See you tomorrow.